Hey there everybody, this is Matthew Smarts here, and welcome to my review of Kirby Fighters 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Now let me make it clear right off the bat that I am a pretty big Kirby fan, and I've been wanting to see a sequel to Kirby Fighters for a really long time. So this review is admittedly going to be a little bit biased, but I'm going to try my best to be as fair towards this game as I possibly can. But without any further ado, let's get ready to rumble! Kirby Fighters originally got its life as a side mode in Kirby Triple Deluxe on the 3DS in 2014. It was a brawler where you pick an iconic copy ability, go up against 1 to 3 other Kirbys with different copy abilities, and try to be the last puffball standing. It's a very basic mode, but one of my favorites from the 2010s era of Kirby games. It even got a standalone eShop release in the form of Kirby Fighters Deluxe, which was neat. Now I always thought that the concept of Kirby Fighters had so much potential to expand with a sequel. More copy abilities, more characters, more stages, more game modes, online multiplayer, and, you know, the ability to play this game on a home console. I mean, a game that's made with multiplayer in mind, being available on a platform more suited towards multiplayer. I don't know about you, but 9 out of 10 doctors say that seems logical. Well, it seems like my wish came true, as now we have a full-blown sequel on the Switch, giving us everything that I could have asked for. How that stuff was handled is another story, but hey, we'll get to that a little bit later. Anyways, Kirby Fighters 2 feels and plays very similarly to the 3DS title, as to be expected. You choose whatever copy ability or character this time around you want to play with, and the stage to fight on, and battle 1 to 3 human players and or CPUs in the hopes of not dying before everybody else. Basically, imagine Super Smash Bros., but solely about Kirby. That may sound like a bad thing or that I'm calling the game a ripoff, but that really isn't the case. This game knows it's all about Kirby, and it owns that fact. It celebrates the franchise as a whole, and not just a small chunk of it, and is filled to the brim with fan service. Let's start out with the famous copy abilities, as they're pretty much the name of the game. All of them have very different movesets that make total sense, and you're given a surprisingly versatile number of moves for each ability, so you don't end up noticing the fact that most of the characters are just different versions of Kirby and see them as their own thing. The best part is, nearly all of the moves are mapped to the B button, usually with some directional influence on the control stick, making the game super easy to understand for casual players, but offers just enough depth so that more experienced players can enjoy them too. All 12 copy abilities from the original Kirby Fighters and Deluxe return here: Sword, Archer, Bomb, Cutter, Paracel, Fighter, Beam, Ninja, Hammer, Woody, Beetle, and Bell. But we also have 5 new abilities entering the mix. Yo-Yo gives you a stylish backwards cap that I wish was still considered fashionable, while also letting you perform cool tricks with, well, a yo-yo. Artist allows your wild imagination to come to life and can harm foes with paint, create big paintings, and even body a poor man with a sculpture that was made in 1 second. If sculptures could be made that quickly in real life, I'd be commissioning artists like crazy. Staff honestly isn't that exciting. It's just a long, pokey stick that can be good for cornering opponents, but not much more than that. Water, which is probably my favorite of the new abilities, turns you into the ultimate Super Soaker, letting you ride waves, spout geysers, and create rainbows out of thin air. And finally, Wrestler, an ability that's new not just to Kirby Fighters, but the Kirby franchise in general. This one's really cool. It allows you to perform all kinds of crazy moves, like drop kicks, to headbutts, to suplexes, to huge spinny swings, and even energy punches, and creating fire out of thin air. If actual wrestlers were half as strong as Kirby was, watching the WWE would be my favorite pastime. But hey, if you're still not interested in playing as Kirby, well, you would be wrong, but if you're craving someone a little bit more original, we also have 5 actual new characters joining the fight. Bandana Wall D, the spear one, King Dedede, the big hammer one, Meta Knight, the masked one, Gooey, the Play-Doh one, and Magolor, the magic one. Overall, I like this roster of abilities and characters. Most of my favorite abilities from the Kirby series are here, though I would have liked to see Fire, Ice, and Mirror get some love. And while I would have loved to see all of Kirby's Dream Friends be playable, and who knows, maybe we will get them in future updates, Gooey and Magolor are in my top 3 favorites, so I'll take it. Moving on to the stages, I gotta be honest, it's not the most impressive list in the world, at least if you're like me and have played the original game. Most of the stages here return from that game, and the new ones don't really impress me visually or gimmick-wise, except for Gigavolt. That one is pretty awesome. You have to dodge a giant robot's arms, and it makes for some pretty intense matches. I do wish there were some more stages to play on, maybe rounding out to a solid 30. But hey, what we do have here is still pretty solid and jam-packed with fan service. So if you're passionate about a certain mainline Kirby game, you're bound to find something you like. My personal favorite stages are Springy Handland because seeing unsuspecting players get smacked to the front of the screen is really amusing. Factory Tour because dodging the giant hammers makes for some crazy clutch moments and the music is a jam. And Waddle Dee Train Tracks because, I don't know, I like trains a lot. What of it? Listen, I'm a pretty simple guy. All I need in life is a bowl of orange chicken and some cute trains to look at, and I'll immediately be in my happy place. That's all there is to it, quite frankly. There's also a decent selection of items to play with, such as food that heals your HP, explosives like bombs and dynamite, microphones to make everyone deaf, and pom-poms. Okay, the Action Star is probably the most interesting one, since when activated, it'll do something completely random like spawning items like crazy, make everyone super fast, or you know, make everyone suddenly drop to 1 HP out of nowhere and turn the match into sudden death. Hey, Gooey earned that victory. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I can't forget to mention the Team Battle exclusive Buddy Shooting Star, which basically acts as a one-hit kill if you and your buddy piece it together. AKA, it's broken. But hey, if you do end up getting knocked out by something broken and there's still at least 2 players left alive, you can turn to a ghost and hitting someone once will revive you with a little chunk of HP, allowing for a second opportunity to bring home the gold. Now all of these things are completely optional. If you want, you can go into the menu and turn off stage hazards, ghosts, and items entirely, or only have a specific kind of item spawn like food for example, which is nice since it gives you more options to play the game your way. At least in the standard battle mode. I do wish there was a way to make fights longer though. There is a handicap feature, but it doesn't end up amounting to much in the long run. I wish you could individually set your HP up to say 9,999, or have an option for timed matches based on scores, because as is, most matches will last a maximum of 2 minutes, which makes those bits of fun feel kind of disconnected unfortunately. And that rings true in the new online mode too. Now I'm really happy that they added online multiplayer, as the original game lost its luster really quickly without it, on top of being on a handheld where local multiplayer wasn't that easy to set up. But it's finally here, and it's just okay. I haven't been able to play that many online matches yet, but from what I have played, it's basically what you would expect for a Nintendo game. Sometimes it works flawlessly, other times it runs like a PowerPoint presentation. I understand that not everyone is gonna have a great connection, I get that, but it'd be nice to at least be paired up to people who have one in the same range as you. And since the matches are so short as they are, going back to the menu to repick your character and stay in the waiting room until everyone is linked up makes online mode a little bit tedious to sit through. You're also really limited when fighting random people. In friend matches you can use whatever setting you want, which is great, but random battles are always team-based with hazards, items, and ghosts on. Maybe the development team thought this game wouldn't get too many sales, and by adding a lot of choices, it would make it much harder to find the matches you want to play. Heck, I'm already having trouble finding matches as is, but giving us at least an alternate mode where you can play free-for-all with hazards and items turned off would have been nice to have for more serious players. But hey, they actually added an online mode this time, so congrats to HAL for living in the 21st century. Well, that's about enough talk regarding general battling, so let's move on to Hell on Popstar. I mean the new story mode. King Dedede and Meta Knight have a grudge against Kirby, so they offer him a challenge to meet up with them at the Buddy Fighters Tower to find out who's the strongest warrior once and for all, yada yada yada. The plot is about as basic as dry oatmeal, but it gets the job done for a spin-off, I suppose. This is a simple gauntlet style mode. Each chapter has a certain amount of floors to tackle, and each floor has you and a teammate fighting random opponents on a random stage, sometimes with a twist thrown in, like only having explosive items or making the time limit 30 seconds. There's a couple of boss battles you'll get into along the way, but there aren't that many, unfortunately. What makes this mode super cool though is the progression system, believe it or not. After every battle, you'll recover a small amount of HP, and you get to choose between a selection of items to help you along the way. These include basic recovery items, badges that increase your attack power, max health, and charge up speeds, badges that will do significantly more damage to bosses and certain characters, rings that give huge buffs to one stat but nerfs another, etc. And since you have a partner besides you at all times, you can even play this mode in co-op. These two things definitely help give story mode a lot of replay value. What isn't cool about this mode though is the final chapter. Chapters 1 through 4 are perfectly fine to deal with if you know what you're doing, but chapter 5... Holy marshmallows! If you're like me, and you played Kirby Star Allies and was disappointed over how easy it was for Kirby standards, yeah, this is Satan's response to that. Not really, but wow, this is a huge step up in difficulty, for better and for worse. Look, the fact that I'm able to get a great challenge out of this chapter is great, as it gives me a good reason to get better at the game instead of mindlessly mashing buttons the whole time. But there are two things in particular that make this chapter crazy. Number one, unlike the other chapters where you can retry a floor as many times as you want if you keep failing at it, this one only gives you 3 lives to complete the whole thing. And considering there's 50 floors in total, having to restart the entire thing after failing only a couple of times, that can easily be frustrating. And that wouldn't be nearly as much of the case if it weren't for the fact that number 2, unlocking King Dedede, requires beating this chapter. If you only unlocked a stage or item from doing this, that would be fine to reward the most dedicated of players. But putting one of the most popular Kirby characters behind this challenge, as someone who really likes unlocking stuff in games and feeling rewarded for doing so, that's a little baloney, I'm sorry. There's also another campaign mode called Single-Handed Mode, which plays very similarly to the original Kirby Fighters single-player mode. There's no teammates, no equipable items, and no rule switching. Just a handful of simple rounds by yourself, ending with a fight against Shadow Kirby. It's fine, I guess, but not nearly as compelling as story mode is. I wish it threw in a couple of little mini-games to make the mode stand out more and to break up the monotony a little bit. The last thing that's worth bringing up is the rank system. For simply participating in fights, you'll earn experience points that go towards your fighter's rank, and each time you level up, you'll unlock something new like an ability, character, stage, story item, music track, and even a cute hat. And there's a lot of stuff to unlock. Like, a lot of stuff to unlock. And if you want to get everything, you need to accumulate hundreds of thousands of points. It sounds like a nightmare, but you'll soon realize that you get points very quickly, and you can get nearly all of the major things just by playing through the story mode. It's a neat little system to show off how far you've come and why you're objectively better than all of your friends at this game. Yeah, you know who you are. And that's Kirby Fighters 2, and overall, I really like it. It's definitely my favorite Kirby game on the Switch so far, and has become one of my favorite spin-offs in the whole series. I wouldn't call it amazing by any means, but this is basically the sequel that I was asking for way long ago, And the fact that it's a really accessible fighting game based off of one of my favorite franchises ever makes this release feel a bit more personal and special to me compared to something like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I still think Smash is a way better game, don't get me wrong, but Kirby Fighters 2 wraps nearly everything I love about the franchise into a fun and easily digestible package that I can enjoy with friends and family who may get tired of playing Smash Bros., Mario Kart, and Jackbox Party Packs all the time with me. I do wish it had more variety in its game modes, the option for much longer battles, and a more well thought out online system, and hopefully it gets updated down the line to add more abilities, characters, and stages, but I will always remember this package fondly, just the way it is. Or maybe I just feel that way because Kirby doesn't get good representation in Smash Bros. I'm gonna go with both. But hey, that's just me and what this game means to me. Now, is Kirby Fighters 2 worth your time? And honestly, it kind of depends on what kind of multiplayer experience you're looking for. If you're a big Kirby fan, you probably already bought this, and you don't really need my recommendation to justify your purchase. To everybody else though, if you're looking for a casual party game or a fighter you can take a little bit less seriously, and you have friends that are open to trying different things and are willing to play with you, well, I'd say get Smash Brothers if you haven't already, but if you need another game like that, I'd say pick this one up on sale unless you really like the world of Kirby. $20 US is a little bit steep for this in my opinion, and I think the value of the package as a whole is more around $15. Actually, a while after I finished recording this video, a free demo of the game dropped that lets you play the first chapter of Story Mode and gives you full access to the wireless and online multiplayer modes, albeit with only the rank 1 abilities. So I'd say give that a try before you decide if the game's for you. If you're not a Kirby fan though, and fighting games like Smash Bros. Aren't really your type of thing, then why are you even watching this video in the first place? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Now come on, Hal. Give us a Kirby Air Ride 2 already. I live and breathe for it.